So it's like, I'm not a Christian, I'm not a burner, I'm not anything. Like I'm such a cliche, but I'm a human. I'm like cringing on myself right now. Like, what am I saying?
It is called Burner Profiles.
From the Scandinavian forests up north to the sandy dunes of the Gerlach Empire, one origin story, one burner at a time. This is Burner Profiles. In this episode, we visit Amanda in the deep catacombs of Old Town Stockholm. Amanda is a long-time burner, tantric witch, and community church priestess.
Welcome to Burner Profiles. My name is Juan. Daniel's behind the camera today. And today we have as a special guest, Amanda Mungsgaard. Hello.
Hello.
Amanda is a deep practitioner of the spiritual path, a tantric witch, if I may add, and community church priestess, all around wonderful, wonderful friend. And that's just how I would describe you. But would you be so kind as to give yourself an introduction?
Yeah, I just I need to take in what you just said. So, to introduce myself, first I have to start with right now feeling a bit just nervous. Arriving here, doing the setup, and now we're live, and it's always a journey what's going to come through. Like, I have no idea what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So every time I get the question of introducing myself or who I am, it's like I get to discover it by myself as well. And that is the experience, how life is for me. So I always get to experience myself in real time. So if I would introduce myself today, I would introduce myself as the word that comes is a fireplace. Like I am a firekeeper in that essence. I think the response that comes through also is a bit of how I relate to you. But I see myself as someone who holds fire. I hold a place of fire and warmth for people where they can transform. So if I introduce myself, I think that's this thing that I always want to say, and that manifests in either the community spaces that I hold. It's always centered around creating warmth, creating safety, creating comfort, creating a place where we can be vulnerable, naked, express ourselves, reveal ourselves, and also just be in the magic that the fire is. So I am longing and aspiring to embody that element and bring that element into different contexts for us as people, humanity, community to dance with and be with. And I think in today's world of electricity, we kind of lose our connection with fire. Like there's just coming more in LED candles. You know, everything is just electricity, and I was like, the element of fire, it's so important. So yeah, firekeeper, mystic in a way. I live deeply, as much as I can. The deep spiritual path would be living deeply in connection to that which cannot be described in words, the unknown, the mystery, the direct lived experience in every present moment. And also having this deep connection with the earth and the earth elements and the motherly energy that comes from Pachamama, Mother Earth, whatever you wish to call it. That is also something that I'm deeply connected to, and that's probably the tantric witch part. It's that's how it manifests itself, as being connected to the earth, being a source of destruction. If someone is not connected to the earth, that's the witch element. I think it can really scare the living shit out of people. Actually, my friend once said, I read it in a book, it's like the role of a witch, if you say it in Swedish at least, it goes so much better. I'm going to do it in Swedish and I can translate it, but it's like, en häxas uppgift är inte att skrämma livet ur folk, det är att skrämma livet in i folk. And like the role of a witch is not to scare the life out of people, it's to scare the life into people. Like get this like seriousness that comes with when you're facing the forces of nature, like having the experience that you're standing in front of something that's so much bigger than yourself, and embodying that energy. Yeah, a lot of things that just came through.
That's fantastic.
Coherency is not my strong suit.
That's fantastic.
The sword is already falling.
Yes.
Very.
So I would say the first question is, how did you find yourself diving into the burner community? And when did you first tell yourself, I'm home?
So then we have to go to the story of Urban Burn, which was a creation that was manifested in 2016. I don't know if you were part of the Swedish scene at that time already.
I think so.
Yeah? Okay. So in March 2016, there was an initiation called Urban Burn in Nobelberget in Sickla outside of Stockholm. And the kind of founder of that, if you say that, Gustav Josefsson Tada, which has also been on the podcast, he was inspired by a setup in Berlin where they did something similar, which was to take the burn into a warehouse, like, kind of blending, I think this is just my interpretation of it, but blending the nightlife scene or like the industrial spaces and urban spaces and taking that vibe of that into that and see what happens. So it's kind of like a fusion, a burner fusion in a way. And that happened in 2016. And I got to hear about it very like shortly before it was happening. And what happened in my life was that my father passed away in a heart attack. Very in a way very suddenly, in a way not sudden at all, because he had a long history of alcohol abuse, and but he was very young. He was 46, and it was the first kind of major impact of death that I had in my life. And I've been very curious for a long time. I was living in a collective. I was studying at university. A lot of my friends were talking about Boom, like the big festival down in Portugal. And we were looking at clips at YouTube at our big TV in the living room and just like, wow, this is so exciting. We want to go to there. And then I started seeing clips of Burning Man, and they showed the clips of the temple and how people were going there, and they were like putting up pictures of their loved ones, then like mourning, and there was something that appealed to me already then before this happened. So when my father passed, I heard about this burn, and I realized, well, okay, a burn, I've seen that on YouTube. Like, there's temples, you can go there, you can mourn, you can be in grief. Like, it's the festival, you can be in the fun, but you can also be in the grief. So that was very appealing to me, because I didn't know how to handle death. I was 26 at the time, and shaken to the core. And the response was so interesting. It was like this, feeling so much life, feeling so much grief, crying, laughing, didn't know what was happening. So I decided the same day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the burn. And he died on a Tuesday, and the burn started on a Friday.
Wow.
And I was living in my house with Elin Durell down in Skövde. And we were trying on different outfits. I remember standing crying and trying like really, tacky burner outfits. Like, looked more like Halloween, I think, like high heels and string top, I don't know. And crying and just like, okay, what's gonna happen? I don't know. Went up to Stockholm. Came to Norden. I remember going there. I was so nervous, and I had my cabin bag and like a black, like very like Stockholm-ish black, non-expressive coat, like a suit jacket. And I remember meeting a guy with like space tights, a unicorn rainbow T-shirt, dreadlocks that was going down to here, and he was like, "Hi, do you want a hug?" And I'm like, whew. This is intense. I'm like, what the fuck?
Sounds typical.
It was like putting a camera outside, seeing this like businesswoman. It's like a bad like Hollywood rom-com, you know. She's coming with her steel blue suitcase, suit jacket, and then this becomes like really the meeting between two worlds. And at that time, we were also sleeping at the Node next to the venue. And the Node today, I don't know if you talked about it, but it's like kind of the more formal. It was at that time. It was really the burner hub, like that was there.
Absolutely.
Like every day, we were there pretty much in creating this little community space in Sickla. So yeah, I was living there, and there were so many weird people, and I had so many weird experiences. And I remember just like thinking, I have to go to Systembolaget and buy some wine. Like, I will not be able to do this without some wine. And yeah, then they drink some wine and the party starts. And I remember I was so nervous about the gifting. I was like, what am I going to gift? I don't know what to do. So I went and bought a lot of ingredients to make raw date balls, and they take some time. And I made all of them for hand. I made like 400 date balls or something because I was so nervous. I'm like, I have to gift. I don't know what to gift. And like, what if I don't gift good enough? Or like, what is the, so insecure. And I did all of these, raw balls and sitting in the kitchen. I remember I was so shy. And I think it's important to share this because so many people, they would never expect that I'm shy. Like in the community, if they meet me today, they see like this, and this like, wow. Yeah. And I'm also this really, really shy, little insecure, like, especially if I'm new to a community. Like, I'm so shy. Oh. I'm so shy. I'm sitting there like, they're there to talk to anyone. And as the evening went along, this more and more experience happened. And I remember the most profound experience that I had was, I remember on the morning, I think it was the Friday morning, my mother called and said that they got the autopsy, and they said that there was a massive heart attack that he died from, because we didn't really know at that time what he died from. But it was a massive heart attack. And in the evening, I kind of got this feeling like I had really strong physical sensations, like physical response to the grief. And at that time, I didn't know that that's something you can have. So I was standing there and I was crying. I was feeling this sense of panic coming up, and I didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, this guy, this biker, comes up to me, and like I'm just telling him, like, I'm standing there with a woman that I met before, and she's holding me, and he comes up and he's like, okay, what's happening? So I shared a little bit, and he's like, okay, don't tell anyone because I'm here undercover, but I'm a doctor. And then he kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna take your pulse, like I can help you, like I'm just gonna see like there's nothing actually physically wrong with you, or not wrong, but so he did that, and he was very calming and reassuring, like your pulse is normal, and like it's very normal to have this response to grief. And like lets you stand here and be with it and breathe together for a while, and then just like let it pass. And I remember that just like here I am in this industrial hall in Stockholm, like I'm having a grief attack because of that, and then all of a sudden there's a doctor there who's like just this super sweet person. It's like, yeah, I'm here, I hold you, strangers. Like I've never had that imprint, like in Stockholm, like it's never happened. So it's this like eye-opening, like, oh, there's support here. There's people who actually genuinely care. And that, I think that was the first kind of kiss of the care and the loving and caring atmosphere that we have in the burner community. That people, when they say like, yeah, welcome home, or they say like in the beginning of my journey, we were talking a lot about coming home. Like when you go to the playa, people say welcome home, and I don't think we do that as much anymore. It's become more sacred to me. Like you say that, like for me, I say it now when I see that someone has had that experience of coming home, like, hey, welcome home, and they're like, yeah. But then I could feel that, like, okay, this feels like home. And I just went home after this, and I was mind blown. And I remember standing on the bus like, what has happened? What? And I remember meeting someone on Friday night at Borderland this last summer, And it was 9 o'clock in the morning, you know, after this full, like we kind of made it, like we've done this whole week and climbed the energetic peak, as I feel that it is. And there's a few people sitting there and the sun goes up and I saw him just sitting there looking at the sun, and there's this crisp. For me, everything looks just really, really crisp, like really HD in that space. And I could see him, and he was looking, his eyes was just glistening, and I could see that he was having a profound revelation of this homecoming. So I just come up to him and I just sit down to him, and I'm just like, you know, I just look at him with so much compassion and just look into his eyes, and like for 3 minutes I'm silent, and then I said just like, welcome home. And I just take this deep sense of relief, like, yeah, like, can I be here? Is it true? And I'm like, yes, it's true. We're here. We're here. So I think that I notice I'm switching a lot between the energy dynamics now, or like the sense or the emotion. But what then happened after that was I went deeper into the burn community. I realized I have to do more of this, and I got engaged in the urban burn especially, and I went to Borderland and did all of that. And also, like, I was so scared at my first Borderland 4 days of like, everyone seems to get it and I have no idea what's happening. Felt like there was 2 different circuits, and I couldn't, like there was this invisible circuit of which everyone understood. Everyone understood what was happening, and I didn't get it. It was like a cultural shock in a way. But I got engaged a lot more, and like fast forward to time, I was at a European Leadership Summit in Aarhus in Denmark, and got questions because I kind of stepped into a leadership position at the Urban Burn, and then eventually ended up holding the whole thing myself. And then one of the people at Burning Man, or in the Burning Man like organization, asked me, so why Urban Burn? So why Urban Burn? And it just made me feel like, because I want to make home feel like home. I don't want to have to go out to the Nevada desert to feel like home. Like, it's fucking ridiculous to go all that way, travel 50 hours, arrive like so a little dehydrated into desert, put up a little like, I think I remember this Borderland. It's really, I was looking out over all the tents, and I'm like, this is like a refugee institution almost. It's not that, but it's like, it looked like a refugee camp when we were looking over. Like, I was like, I feel a bit taboo saying that, but of course we're not in the, yeah. But yeah, it's like, I want to make home feel like home. I don't want to have to do that and put out that, like, I want it to be that level of accessibility. I want home to feel like home, and Stockholm had not felt like a home for me. I hated Stockholm. I did not want to live in Stockholm. It was like, I got and Urban Burn started to make Stockholm feel like home. We could experience that magic, and then I could be in that magic, and then I took the metro home, and just having no gaps in between that, because at the burn you're in this bubble and you kind of don't break it. And here it's bridging the worlds in a way. You are at the burn, you are in that atmosphere, and then you bring it and you take it on the metro. You give it to the city. You take that magic and bring it out to Stockholm. And for me, that's the most important thing. It's like, how can we be at home where we are? In our cities, but also in ourselves. And a lot of the burner community is, unfortunately, it's very attractive for escapists, myself included. I was on the run. I was escaping, and my purpose and my mission of what I want to do now is to really come home within myself, seize the escape or the fight with life, and just like, how can I just And I think that's what we're doing as a community as well. We bought our land, we have our land, we have long-term plans. I think the most beautiful thing is the representation of the oak that we planted there the first year. And just a vision of like, yeah, this oak might stand for, 700 years, just to pull a number, but it could stand for that long. So there's this longevity and sustainability that is coming into me and into at least the Scandinavian burner scene, that is, it's such a big importance. So there's this thing about impermanence and that everything will be burned down, and we had to do that at one point of our stage of evolution. But let's remember, this started in 86, I think it was. Like it's more than 30 years ago, and what was needed then might not necessarily be needed now. The world already is on fire. We don't need to burn it anymore. And then, funnily enough, that's where Mudman happened, and then all of a sudden the fire at Burning Man turned into a water fest.
Yeah.
And I think that water is what's needed now.
So much of what you do is this sense of bringing that sacred spiritual sense of home to a more localized place, to a more local community. A lot of that has to do with some of the projects that you're doing currently. Would you like to share a little bit more about this church priestess archetypal role and function that you serve and gift to the community currently?
I love how you kind of weave that and bridge that. Just like enjoying that a little bit. It's been an initiation with all that entails. So what you're referring to is my creations that I've been doing in the church here at Skeppsholmen. And for people who are interested in that, there can probably be some tag or something about Alruna, which is what I'm doing there. But essentially it's ceremonial concerts inspired by the movements of shamanism, plant medicine, all of those journeys, and the music that is coming out from that particular healing field. And also bridging the witchery, but like the indigenous wisdom. And for us in the Nordics, it's a lot revolving around witches and the wisdom that the witches were carrying and the witch burnings. And there's been so much that has been lost here up in the Nordics, both in terms of our relationship to religion. We're like one of the most atheist countries in the world in Sweden. I think don't have any data, but I think that's pretty accurate. Like we don't have a tradition of going to church in that way. And we don't have a tradition of really respecting and honoring our elders here as well and the wisdom that they're carrying. We don't have a tradition of so much plant medicine or like these things that like it's here. But if we look at the Sami people and what we're doing to them and the wisdom and the cultural heritage that they are carrying, it's like it's representative of how we're treating this ancient body of knowledge that we have here up in the Nordics. And part of me is kind of discovering, really like literally discovering this body of wisdom that is present here, and I feel that it's waking up. There's something waking up here in the Nordics that wants to come through, and it has a lot, for me, what is coming through is especially feminine voices or female voices, singing the sounds of the earth in a way, like singing from the elements, singing from that, singing beyond the mental realm, singing beyond the intellectual realm, and it really touches us. Like the musicians that are coming to me, first of all, they're coming in a very magical way. Like I never go and try to get anyone. It's like just rather they're calling. Like it's just an act of receiving. Like this whole project is for me, it's an act of receiving. So I'm receiving these people and they're coming and we're opening up for them to invite us to a space of ceremony. And usually we are between 150 to 400 people up in the church, and everyone is there with the intention to heal, to feel, to be nourished, to give, and experience love, essentially. So the role of me as the priestess, which I'm still really trying to, okay, here I am standing in a church. I look at all the pictures. I'm standing like this. I look like a cult leader / priestess, and people are starting to like say that about me, and I still haven't really fully connected with that role yet, because I have so much humbleness also for the kind of shamanic part, like people calling themselves shamans, people calling themselves priestesses. You know, there's an, I don't know if the word's inflation, but it's just too many people doing that now. Like people do an ayahuasca ceremony and all of a sudden they're indigenous shaman with like the full, this Halloween, these kits, this meme kits that was going, like the starter pack on Instagram, that was really like accurate on what is happening. So I have a hard time calling myself a priestess. Because what does that mean? Do I want to tap into that vibe of what the tantric priestesses that are, you know, going at Layla Martin school? I guess not. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but it's also in a way a branded identity, which is anchored in capitalism and sales. Absolutely. Which in an essence goes against the decommodification principle of like capitalizing on the burn. So now I got that in also. But it's happening a lot, and this really aims to be a place where we can invite the temple. Yeah, if I could connect it back to the temple and the essence of why I first came to the burn, it's like to be in temple, to be in a temple space. And the church does not provide that temple space. Or I have had the feeling it doesn't provide that temple space that is open and free from the structural pressure of religion or the framework of how religion works. And I'm wishing for a more feminine approach to how we can be and move in a ceremonial space, in a church space, in a temple space. And yes, so many things coming through, and but so my wish is really to invite that, and my role as the priestess in that is to open up the space of safety. It's like really stepping into my mother energy and like holding, like everything here is safe. You are not too much. You are not too much. What you're feeling is not too much. And that has been the medicine for me, like, because I always feel so limited in spaces. Someone coming telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't be this, you can't be that. Like society is so full of like informal polices, like correcting, like, and there's an essence to that, but also in Sweden we're very rigid as a society, so it really limits a wild expression or a true expression or a natural expression. It limits ourselves from discovering ourselves. So the intention here is to invite people to experience themselves. And I had people who wrote to me that had been feeling like, yeah, the first concert I came, I really felt suicidal, and that was such a turning point in my life. I had one of my good friends, Daniel, like he met his soulmate through one of the concerts. And there's been so many connections that have been done. There's so many relationships that's been created. There's been so much healing. There's been so much profound moments. I had a lot of people say that, like, this has been probably the best concert of my life that I've been to. Even the artists, there's some moments where they're deeply impacted because this big cupola, like, it just echoes the sound. There's so much history there. So we've seen moments where the artists even are like, whoa, what is happening? Because the invitation is really for everyone to experience themselves in the present moment. So everyone's like get caught out, like they can lose the loop. They can lose the idea of who they are. Even the artist, even on stage. And that's the essence of a burn also. It's like discovering who you are beyond who you think you are. So it's like there's so many different things that goes into this space. And my favorite moments, which is the same kind of peak moment which I explained on Friday, is like when we got so kind of like knit together as a community, is that we can experience the sense of ecstasy, which is essentially oneness. We can be in a state where we can actually allow to sense and feel our non-separateness, that we're not separate, we are the same. And like, what does it take from a container and a culture to be able for us to open up in that experience? Like total surrender to the bigger forces, total surrender of our separate identity, and just feeling, yeah, we're one here. That is the sacred experience for me. That's a sacral, whatever, like that's it. That's it. That's what I live for. That is what I live for. And live and die for. And yeah, that's really at the heart of what I'm inviting there in that church. and trying to. And I'm giving so much that I'm like completely exhausted by it as well. Like that creation is eating me alive. Everything is eating me alive. The burn was eating me alive, and I don't know really how to do it sustainably still. I'm still struggling, trying to find my way. In being like devoured by creation itself. So it's a struggle. It's been really hard. Like I've been very exhausted the past 3 months energetically after holding this space, because I have a hard time, really co-creating, like truly co-creating with other people, really co-creating with other people. And I'm a control freak. I'm a perfectionist. I know what I want. I know how I want it.
That's how some things get done.
Yes, and
yes, and
I think that's also what the burn has taught me. Like sometimes, if I let go and just let people do, trust people. I think Gustav said that once, and it's been one of my keywords or like key reminders. Is like trust people more than they deserve. Give them a bigger suit than they like have. And we do that with kids as well. We buy bigger shoes so they can grow into them. Absolutely. And it's the same thing that I'm practicing with the volunteers and the community around Alja now. So it's like, okay, you take care of the flowers, I trust you. And then also just having this experience of that people really don't pay so much attention as I do. I'm obsessed with details, and I'm in this current phase of accepting how much, everyone can't focus on the details the way I do, because then nothing would be done. But also my role is to focus on the detail, and how can I really own that? So there's this balance. You can be totally free in the co-creative process and give everyone full permission to do whatever they want, and sometimes amazing things can arise. But when you are actually in the land in between co-creation of just seeing what comes up, and it doesn't matter because we're going to burn it, and then also something is created and we're going to document it and we're going to try to preserve it for the future. That's a whole different way of working in my experience. Because in the burn, it's like one of the first things I learned is that whatever you create, we're going to burn it, so it doesn't matter. So you can be free in exploring creativity. So you kind of protect yourself from the perfectionist or like whatever it might be. And here it's like bringing all of that on board again. Like I'm integrating my perfectionist. I'm integrating all of that. I'm integrating my inner critic. Because it does matter what I leave for the world. It does matter. It's like going from leave no trace to leave a better trace. It's like an evolution in that. It does matter. I care so much. I exhaust myself because I care so much.
Tell me a little bit about how you first started the church.
So, in the art of receiving and not grabbing and not doing, the whole kind of history, it started actually at Borderland last summer, 2000, or not 2 years ago, 2022, 23, I don't know, whatever, some years ago. And I met my friend around the sacred fire, and we were sitting having a conversation, and he's been doing a lot of work down in Copenhagen with Wake, I think it's just called Wake. And they've been doing a lot of ceremonies and events in the church and sound journeys. And it's just been his work has been such a big part of my journey. He's done these sound journeys, which is it's like ayahuasca integration songs. Like they've been playing in a lot of breath journeys and stuff. So it's like I want more of that, and we were talking about that and having a really beautiful connection there. And then he called me 2 months later and like, so I want to host an event with Nessie Gomez. Like she's looking for a place to perform in Stockholm. Like, do you know someone? And I said, I'm going to think about it. Thought for it for 2 weeks. Like, I don't know anyone who can do this, but wait, I can do this. Like, I've done events for 500, 600 people with the Urban Burn. Like, I can't see anyone better than me to do it, so I'll just do it. So I called him and said, I can do it. And the funny thing is everything that happened revolved around the pier down here at Skeppsbrokajen. So I was sitting there a few weeks later having fika with my friend, and I told her about the project, and she's like, yeah, but why don't you rent that church over there? I'm like, can you do that? And she's like, yeah. I'm okay. And then I looked it up, and they have this special thing there that they do, which is called Cultural Days. So on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesdays, they have like discounted rent for cultural events to kind of support that. And so I called them and asked what the pricing was, and I was like, okay, let's try this. And it's a really like generous offer from them to give that to Stockholm as a gift, I think, to the cultural scene also, for us to be able to be there and to create there. So pretty much, yeah, that's how the whole journey has gone. Someone calls, can we do this? And then someone's like, why don't you do it here? So I'm just being guided. Like, I don't have to look for anything. Every time I look for something, it doesn't work. I was trying to look for an alternative, and I ended up like connecting with 50 venues, and all of them were just like too expensive or too small. Like, so it's just that thing. Everything just comes like this with this project, and that's the whole. It's so important for me in this project to let it come, and someone gives me the clue. And then when Nessie had called, the rumor kind of started going in the scene of these artists, and they're like, oh, there's someone who's organizing these events in Stockholm now. We've been waiting for so long. So more and more people started just calling, and I'm like, okay, yes, let's do it. So all of a sudden I had said yes to 6 concerts and 6 artists before I even hosted my first first event, and just had a really blind trust, like, okay, let's see what happens. But it was way too big for me to take on as one person to do and deliver this creation. And I've had fantastic support by the community as well. But it's, again, without the structure and the coherency and the commitment, like, it cannot create the kind of safety that is needed for me to be able to hold this level of creation. So that's where my work is coming in now. Like, how can I create structure around this in a format that is actually holding? I'm not sure if I will be able to make it happen. But yeah, so basically it's this kind of dance between being open, receptive, surrendering, and then the second of like then putting a format around that. Like, it's, first having the baby kind of, then starting to raise it and then nourish it. And it's like, it's really the creative process of birthing something like that feels very similar to birthing a child. Not that I have birthed a child myself, but I've been very close to people who have done it, and there's a lot of parallels in the giving birth to a body of work as it is to give birth to a body of soul. Sounds a bit cheesy, but you kind of get my point.
I absolutely do. I wanted to kind of go back into the element of fire. So we've been talking a lot about holding this space, maintaining this fire, and the fire that's within you, and the transformative process, the relation to like burning, people kind of ceremoniously engaging in death, all of these things. For me, when I hear it from you, there's this kind of connection that happens. And I just want to hear from your words, like, how do you relate to the primordial fire?
I got stuck in that burning people ceremonially. I'm like, that's also
I think that's the witch part of you that's hearing that.
So what were my thoughts on that? No, primordial fire.
Yeah.
So what my relationship is to the primordial fire?
Yeah, the fire element.
I come to think about my friend Louis, who always talk about the grandfather fire, and I come to think about my experiences in ceremony, and in like plant medicine ceremonies, and the fire is such an important element for me, and I can just sit there in front of the fire for hours. Like, one of my favorite things to do is to just sit in front of a fire and then just like take a stick, and then you're like just caressing it, and it's like resting my attention at the fire. Like, everything is here, everything is like, I'm at the process of life. I'm at, like, everything is, for me, the element of the circle of life becomes so clear in facing the fire. like I'm seeing this destruction in front of me. I'm seeing how it creates warmth. I'm seeing how it creates energy that can nourish me. Like if I would have a hot dog, or like make some food on the fire. It's just such a primal thing, and it really connects me to something that I cannot access with my mind. It connects me to something deeper. So just going out in the forest, creating a fire, building a fire, making your food around the fire, it just connects me to what we've been doing as a species for over 10,000 years. I don't know exactly how long it is, but it's just the medicine against this technology, sitting with the fire on my phone, sitting with technology. It's just this ancient technology in a way that it instantly connects me. And also, I'm half Finnish and half Swedish, so I think there's been this really deep reconnection with the sauna for me, or like doing ceremonial work in a sauna, and like using the sauna as a sweat lodge, kind of like our Scandinavian sweat lodge version of where you use the fire as the element of transformation, and then also put the water on and see how water is turned into steam. So it's really this alchemical process just happening right in front of your face. Like I have fire, and then what that heat creates in me, like I can start to sweat. I will release energy from my system. I can relax. And it's just so much. It's so important to kind of have that hygiene in a way of, like, ancient hygiene is the word that comes through. It's like the responsibility to treat our bodies in a way that is familiar to them. And that is not to sit in a computer and like being in this evolutionary speed that we are at in technology, AI, all of that. That is one thing, but then there's also this responsibility to us to nourish and care for our bodies in a way that they feel safe with. And that is fire, sitting around a fire, sharing stories around the fire, singing around the fire, music and sounding and drums. And, that's just been, it echoes down into the memory of our DNA or of our cells somehow. Like we all know that space. It touches us beyond what we can grasp, and to reconnect with that space, to find our strength and our it's essentially coming back to source. It's coming back to source. And if we would dig deep down enough into the earth, we would come to the center, which is magma, which is lava, which is this fire, which is this heat. And we need to be connected to that. We need to be connected to that in order to be connected to the earth. There's no other way around it. Like, yeah, we can aspire to go to Mars, and yeah, it's cool, and SpaceX and all of these things that Elon are doing. Like, it's that's one aspect, and we have to pull that direction. But also, I think it's part of evolution itself and polarity itself that, yeah, we also have to pull this way. It's like this kind of evolution is in this friction. Life is happening. Like, we want to go outside of the womb, and then we want to go deeper into the womb. Like, Earth is our womb. We want to go as deep in as we possibly can, and we're going to go as far away as we possibly can. And it's like the masculine energy, like reaching outward for the adventure, and then the feminine is reaching deep into the waters. And we have that aspect, and we need to dance with that and nourish both, to be whole as beings.
I definitely see like the church and the space that you hold as some sort of spiritual fire,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And also, for me, it's the work of going from the depth and the muddiness and the earthiness of the witch energy and the fire energy and the primal energy, to actually moving into more sacred energy, sacral energy, I think it's called. It's like more light, more angelic, more really cultivating and crystallized energy. Like, what happens when we shape this human form over generations and cultivate it? What happens? What is that expression? And also understanding that expression. What happens when we have Christianity, for instance, they've been doing their thing for 2,000 years. Like, I did not have respect for that before, because something in me just wanted to destroy that, to come back to nature. But then also, what if I accept that and start exploring that? Like, what can we do with that also? So in a way, it's my reconciliation with the, in lack of better words, higher realms, and what we can do when we focus and cultivate and conserve and stay in integrity with the gifts that we have that's coming through. That sounded a little bit fluffy, but in this term, like if we see it, people are singing in the churches, and people who've been, I went to a toning on New Year's in Katarina church, and it's just like when I heard this tiny little woman who's 60 something, and when she was like toning in the church and everyone was quiet, and I heard that, and she could really work with the church room, and it was so beautiful. Like, I get goosebumps just sharing about it. So what it's like, it's the marriage between that primordial force and then the sacred temple container. What happens in that marriage? We have this majestic churches, and then you start actually looking at the churches like, what the actual fuck have we built? And you know, people who were back then, they were building these things and they would not live to see it even. What do you need to connect with in order to build something and sacrifice your life for something that you will never see? And the answer to that is beauty. It's like the art of bringing beauty back into the world. And if we look at Stockholm, for instance, and now we are in the old town, there's so much beauty in Stockholm. There's so much beauty. And this church also embodies so much beauty. Like, it's this octagon, and it's statues with women eating grapes, and you know, there's this big luscious curtains and this, you know, golden carvings, and there's like the churches. There's so much beauty. There's so much beauty, and for me, the rediscovery of these places and religion and what it holds, it's seeking the highest expression of beauty in human form. And fire is power in a way, and it's raw, but the beauty, refined beauty of a flower, you know, it's like the flowering. What is the flowering of humanity? And I think the churches are aspiring to hold space for that.
What's your vision for the future in relation to the community you have here in Stockholm, or the burner community as a whole?
I mentioned this when we recorded last time also, but I recorded with Daniel, and there is this, I have this Borderland Tarot deck that was printed, that I got with Urban Burn. It only exists in 10 copies. And it's this kind of secret thing that's going around. I feel very privileged to be one of the carriers of that. But there's a card, and then instead of, in the major arcana, they have the cards, but also have the 10 principles involved into it. And they have this this card representing the decommodification card, which says, I am not a burner. And there's a little pin that has gone around, like, I am not a burner, which is essentially this pointing to this thing of non-identification. Because there is this part of the burner journey, which I think most of us go through in one point. It's like, I'm a burner. Like, this is my identity. This is what I do. This is my life now. And I'm a burner. I wear spade tights and fur coats and blinky lights. I think the fashion have changed a bit now. I saw the other day that you can buy these burner hats that everyone was wearing on Temu, which is this Chinese. I'm like, okay, this is where we're at now. This is the height of commodification. And I was just laughing at that. And I was like, yeah. And so in terms of the identifying as a burner, or like at the burner scene in the burner community, I'm really aspiring to dissolving the labels. So it's like, I'm not a Christian, I'm not a burner, I'm not anything. Like, I'm a, such a cliche, but I'm a human. I'm like cringing on myself right now. Like, what am I saying? Fuck. It's better to be a burner.
It is called Burner Profiles.
Okay, so for the sake of burner profile, playing the role of a burner profile. I'm currently really wanting to bridge and expand the community as much as possible, and I see it as part of my responsibility, having got the privilege and the gift of diving deeply into the burner community, like deep into the core, like going to being at these Burning Man leadership conferences, in Mexico and in Denmark, and just going deep into it and meeting some of the most inspiring people who've been doing this since the start, essentially.
Yeah.
I have a responsibility to take kind of, if we use the analogy of the hero's journey, it's like I kind of went into this, I went deep into the cave, or deep into the burner hole, and now I'm coming out of that, and there's a part of the hero's journey where they say that you have a responsibility to come back to your tribe and to your community and share what you have found, like on your journey, and if you don't do that, you will just fall back into the hole.
Right.
Like there's this, I heard this some years ago and it deeply resonated with me, and I feel like I've been on that point where I've gone deep into the rabbit hole and then come up and failed to share what happened, and then just take another turn in the vortex, and like and another to this point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Something new needs to happen in my life, because I've been doing this for 8 years now, and so I'm at this point where I'm like, I want to share somehow the fruits that I've harvested in this creative inferno, because Burning Man and the energy around that is not made for everyone. It's not made for everyone. Like it's just not. And it's but how can I take some of that magic that we are extracting there in this creative existential mine, and then bring it back to enriching the world? Like, get this analogy of what happened in the gold rush in California in 1900s. It's like everyone was just going there into the adventure, and they were leaving their families and just going out to the Wild Wild West in the hopes of finding gold and to create a richer world. And that's how San Francisco came about. I think, I'm not sure if it was San Francisco, but this is also, where Burning Man started. So it's kind of carries the energy of like going out into the desert or to the unknown to extract gold, to bring back to the community and enrich in our community. And I see it as, if we look at what we did in Hedeland, for instance, where we built the temple of Tokamak, which was the structure, and it's still standing there on the land. And it's like this, we already touched a little bit in the Scandinavian community of bridging the art from this vortex, or this incubator in a way, to our everyday reality, or to everyone, like more accessible in a way. Like how I'm getting curious in that, but also not in terms of physical art, because I am in this realm of cultural art. So how can we bring cultural aspects from here to nourish the Scandinavian, very like, especially Stockholm, like cold climates? How can we bring in some of that cultural warmth and feeling of home, essentially, into Stockholm? And so I did that first now with the church, but the church is also very limited towards a certain type of people. It attracts just very certain kind of people, and I feel that what my being wants to do, it wants to go very big. And I'm a bit scared of how big it wants to go, but it's like visions, like, take over the world. Like, let's. I remember having a talk with one of the artists, and I was saying, like, we were sitting having a coffee, and I was like, I had this vision of that we will do this in arenas with 50,000 people, within 5 years. And she's like, I know. And I'm like, can you really say that? and that was the first kind of like dip or drip from the genius cloud that I call it, that came down. I'm like, okay, it's possible. And then it's just the whole journey starts of trying to pioneer that, or to ground that, to bring that into the physical reality. And for me, that works right now is heading towards Gamla Stan, the old town here, where we are at right now. And the flow or the stream of life is connecting me with people who are working here, who are doing their own little art projects here, who are in this place of cultural heritage and doing their original creations in their way, and really want to, like, how can we talked about it just earlier before we came in, and we said that I talked with Daniel, and he said, like, Gamla Stan, the old town, is pretty much the forgotten part of Stockholm. Yes. It's like, this is just where the tourists are. And like, how can it be that this is the heart of Stockholm and this is the forgotten part? We think that in the heart, if we use that analogy, there's just tourists, random people walking around buying shit from China. And that is what we believe about our hearts today. It's quite like, you know, we're quite disconnected from our hearts. So we think our hearts is a place for tourists to go buy crap from China. And
perfect.
In this imperfect world, yes. But there's this longing of rediscovering the heart, of rediscovering the heart, the art, the essence, the beauty. Because here, the beauty is here. And I got to know that about the old town. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it might have been like 100 years ago or something. The old town was so close to being like just demolished. Because they were like, no, we need to build new houses. And there was like, it came to a level that was just about to happen. And then I don't know how it got stopped, because history is not my strong suit. But yeah, it's really close. That imagine if they would just tore this whole place down.
Wow.
And build like T-Centralen vibes all over here.
Oh my God.
Or like city center Stockholm, of course, for the people who don't know. But it's like, I get just anxiety just thinking about it. And it takes a certain kind of person investment to conserve this heritage. Like, these buildings are 300, 400, 500 years old. You know, it takes a lot of work. And in today's consumerism, it's like, you know, just tear down and build something new that will stand for 50 years, and then we'll do something. Like, it's this kind of, today's culture is not about creating something that will last for a long, long, long time. And just to bring that into the little aspect of shamanism, again, it's like, think 7 generations back, think 7 generations forward, and I don't even think we think about our next, like, we don't even think about our kids today. So I think that going back and actually starting to be in connection with this thing that has been conserved for this long, and this is actually where there's this living, like the people that are living here. I went to one of these meetings recently with people who are here and working for the old town, who are living here, has been living here, and the passion that they have, the community that they have, and the soul, like in Swedish you call it eldsjälar, like the fire. How would you say eldsjälar? Like a good, these passionate people who are just giving their all for a cause without any money connected. There's so many of these people here. And everyone who runs their own shop here, it's like, because everywhere in the old town there are unique shops and artists, you know, having their own little venue, art galleries. They're really like people you would meet at a burn. But even more so, like in a way, I would say that they're more original burners, because they just live obsessed with their own with the creative process. And they don't live as much for the party. And the burn scene has become a lot of partying, which I love. But also I'm wanting to go even deeper into the arts. And these people, they're here. So many of them are here. So now I'm kind of playing with, how can I bridge what I learned in the burn community and the urban burn setup to bring that to the old town, to kind of, how can we bring people here? to get them to experience home feeling like home and like experience the heart of Stockholm. And I think a lot of that will happen automatically now in Slussen. Hopefully, if that turns out well, that will be a very huge like meeting point. But also re-experiencing the magic in the old town. Like just walking around here a summer night at 11 o'clock, having a glass of wine somewhere, going around in the little alleys. It's such a magical experience every single time. And there's so many people. I take people here every year because one of my favorite things is to just bring people here. And it's been for many, many years. And everyone's just like, wow, I didn't know that this exists. And for me, that's how I've always felt a really strong connection to the old town ever since I was small. Some of my first memories are here from going to the Christmas market up at the big plaza. And I always felt really connected to the old town. But now also it's like the old town, in a way, I feel that it's calling me. And it's calling people. Like it's calling people to like, okay, come like support the call or support the cause of just seeing what we have here in Stockholm. Like it's just it carries the essence again of coming back to home. Like I went to the castle also a year ago for the first time and going in there's like, whoa, okay, there's so much, it's so potent to be in there and just look at all of this history that is here. It's really, there's so much history. And I've dismissed history for so long, but it's like when I reconnect with it, it's so beautiful. You go down to the vault and you see these crowns. It's been there 500 years old. How do you make a crown that lasts for 500 years? Like what the actual fuck? And how do we, like, how have we managed to preserve that? I can't even preserve myself, you know. Or that's the part of the whole thing. But I, you know, so for me, it's really fascinating. It's just it's art itself in a way. I thought art was always inventing the new, but art to me is also it's just a communication of creation. Communication. Creation's communication. And there's so much of that here, and there's a passion or like a fire in my heart is coming to life of wanting to bring aliveness to the old town and to bring out what is already here and to make it it's a självklart, like an obvious, like of course we're gonna go to Old Town, of course we meet in the Old Town, because for me this is where I talk to people who live here. They didn't never leave the island, they're just here, you know. And there is so much richness here. Like all of these cellars also, we're sitting in one of them now, and I'm just getting keys to more and more, and people are inviting me, and pretty much every house here has a magic cellar with this little art installations, and there's an underground world, there's an underground scene going on here in the Old Town. People have no idea. So it's just, I haven't found a better place to kind of take the mystery, bring the mystery in that we are experiencing in the Werner setup, and then just realizing that it's been right in front of us all along. And it's the same with the Nordic heritage and the wisdom and it has been here all along. And we haven't seen it. It's been right in front of our eyes. And then something lifts the veil and you're like, oh, okay. So and if I would say that more practically, we were talking about founding this like Old Town day, like the day of the Old Town, like that this day we always go to the Old Town, how do we not have that? How do we not have the you know, something that is big here? We have so many places around Stockholm where things are happening, and you know that Nytorgsfesten, you know that you're supposed to go, like you know that you go there. So many things happening, but there's nothing in the Old Town. How is that? Doesn't make sense. So I wanna enjoy the magic of the Old Town with as many as possible. Anyone who feels called, and it's again at the center of it is the heart. It's like anyone who feels called to the heart. That's the people I want to surround myself with, and whatever they identify as, I could not care less. As long as they are on a quest to embody their heart and be in their hearts as much as they possibly can in this lifetime, no matter how hard it is, because we live in a world that does everything to keep us disconnected from the hearts, in my experience. But they still choose. It's the brave hearts. You know, the people are brave enough to go into the heart. Like, that's the people I want to call in. So if that's you, come.
Shout out to all the brave hearts out there.
Yeah, shout out to all the brave hearts.
This is the beacon. This is the horn.
Yeah, and here you don't have to go into like a survivor camp experience, because that's not for everyone. And it's really about radical inclusion. At the heart of it, it's like, how can we be radically inclusive? The civic responsibility, like some of the most forgotten principles, it's a decommodification, civic responsibility. Like, how can we honor the society that we're living in also? Like, I think that most people don't even know that civic responsibility is a principle. People are just focused on immediacy and leave no trace and radical self-responsibility. Yeah, communal effort a little bit. It's like, what happens if we would take these principles and apply them to our society? Because they work so well in our little bubble. But what would happen if we actually bring that in? It's the same thing that I mentioned, to bring in the inner critic, bring in the perfectionist, bring in everything. Because at a burn, everything is not present. You don't have to face society at a burn. But if you can be that which you are at a burn, in the center of Stockholm or wherever you're living in the world, if you can be that wherever, then you are yourself. And that, again, ceases the separation. You don't go to a burn and then it's the default world, which is the kind of separation that has been very popular in the burner world. It's like, the normal people, the not burners, the default worlds. It's like, okay, but what happens if we put that on fire as well? And that's what Borderlands is, essentially. Like, it's the place between dreams and reality. And one of the symbols that they burned a few years ago, before I came into the community, was the symbol of reality in the LARP, because the Borderland was founded on or like deeply inspired by the LARP community. And then they have this symbol which represents like, this is out of the game. And they burnt that symbol because nothing is out of the game. There is no separation. There is no this and that. There is no, because I know, but this is not part of the game. This is not part of it. Everything is part of it. There is no default world. There is no default world. There is no default world.
One more time.
There is no default world.
Fantastic.
Do you get it?
Wake up, sheeple.
It's default to think it's default.
I want to hear some of your thoughts on what makes the Scandinavian burner scene so unique.
Me.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
I just had to try that.
Yeah. No. I couldn't have picked a better. I don't think there could have been a better answer for that.
I would love to elaborate. I wouldn't feel shame.
No, don't.
It's fun to try it but seriously, I've been stuck in egolessness and non-identity for so long, and just standing up for myself and what I do. So it's also this practice of just like being, me, of course me.
Yeah.
Like, me, I'm the shit,
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
But I think what makes it so unique, because I think it's a very valid, important question to answer. And it's, we can see it now in the ticket ship. Lottery.
Membership lottery is the proper term, I believe.
Ticket situation ship.
Yes.
Ticket membership. Those who know, they know. But there was someone said like, why does Nowhere have problems selling out the tickets, and at Borderland people are fighting, like it was, I don't know why I get this, but like they're selling, opening up Apple sales in New York, and people are like trying to get, running
Black Friday level
Black
of
Friday,
bust down the gates.
Yeah, exactly.
the 502 bad gates.
Yeah, exactly.
Bust down the 502 bad again.
Yeah, this is gonna be a meme for some time. No, but So why is it like that, and why is it that the Scandinavian scene is the only burn in the world that we still haven't hired people, and the American organization, they're just like the org, they call it the org. It's still like very 1984, the org, and Burning Man is still very very much a American structure, and. It's like, how have we managed to not do that in Scandinavia? And I think it depends on, we are so used to having föreningsliv. Like, we're so inspired by föreningsliv, which is pretty much union life. Like, so much of the Swedish society is built on union life. And socialism, I would say, in one way, it's like community, socialist values, union thing. Like, everyone has done that when you were young, and like they go to the scouts or like the football clubs, or there's just so much communal effort that goes into the Swedish DNA of how Sweden is as a culture. And of course we have the loneliness epidemic as well, but that's really what we have with us as a society, and I think that is coming into the burner scene as well. That we have an inclination to contribute a lot with our free time, and that is just part of, what it's just very easily for us to gift in that sense. And also there's this longing, to be in creative environments, and there's this longing to be free, more free. There's this longing to break out of the very Swedish minimalist Scandinavian expression that we have, like jantelagen, and like all of these things. Kind of
explain for our American viewers.
Yeah, I knew. I thought you were going to say that. But you're in America. Can't you explain it? Because you lived.
It's your interview.
Okay, but jantelagen says that no one should stick out, and that it's like basically no one should stick. Like, you shouldn't be better than anyone else. You shouldn't try to put yourself as, like, what I just did to say me is just like, that's Jante would he would turn in his grave if he was a person. It's just like, don't stick out, be conformist. Be very conformist, and follow the rules, follow the culture, and like all of these hidden ways of, what's it called, like social
conformity.
Social conformity. And so that's essentially what it is. We are a very conformist country, and there's this longing, and the more you conform, the more you suppress, and the more you're suppressed, the more there is to express. And
I love that.
Yeah, I used to say that some time ago. Like, part of what I'm doing is like, what people suppress, I express. Like, part of being a witch, I guess. But there's this longing, and there's this embrace. The Scandinavian culture here, there's so much embrace, and we're so. I talked to my friend who's from France recently, and said in France they never hug. Like, it's very rare that they hug. They just cheek kiss, and I think that in Sweden we have a hugging culture. And I think if I might just play around with that a little bit, I think that the hugging culture is part of it. Because hugging really, it's a really great way to create connection. And if we're used to hugging, and then we just add 5 seconds more to each hug, like, what happens? Hugging is such a powerful thing to do. And we do that a lot in the burn. You just hug people all the time, and then shit just gets cozy. There's so much cuddles. Yes. And then you have all of these pioneers also, these kinky cuddle people. I've been one of them also. But it's just like this playfulness. I was talking to Mini Macklin the other day. I'm married to Fabian Tans, and they're have been doing the Silly Sanctuary for long. And that's also, for me, that's been a really important part. It's like, how can we be silly? Can we be fun? Can we be playful? What happens when we're silly? And there's this invitation of being silly and cuddling. And there's been just a lot of good art projects that happened throughout the years that invited us to be ourselves more. And then in that, cuddles happen. When we are safe, we play, we have fun, we act like cublings. No, is it called cublings? Puppies and...
Yeah.
I was thinking with lion cubs.
Yeah, like puppies.
Yeah, but puppies. We behave like them. We go around, we bite each other, like like we're kids, and we play and we hug and we roll on top of each other. And there's just been a lot of that from the beginning, from my beginning at least. And probably a lot of people also in the beginning. I know that Louise von Bar started really early, the massage, oxytocin Mondays, and like had a lot of massage going on. And at that time we were not so many in the community still. So there's been some of these pioneers. Gustav and Malin also are very like cuddly people and loving and open. And yeah, there's just, and also I must say that the fact that there were so many people that were first adapters. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
early adopters
early
that
adapters.
came into the burn community was also in TNT. And some of the most like potent people who were like in the core of the community at the time also went to TNT during those like glorious, most eccentric days. Which is the new Tantra. I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's like, yeah, this epic sex cult. And so many people went to that, and then they went to the burn. And of course there will be a mash between that. So I think that kind of infused the Swedish scene with a lot of sexiness also. So I remember when I was at Burning Man, and I went to their orgy dome, and it's the most boring thing I've ever. It's like going to an institution, and that's like the sexy place at Burning Man. You stand in a queue for 2 hours. You come into a room with a mattress and an air condition. Most people just go there because it's cool. Literally air conditioned cool. And then you have people walking around with these little aprons and like handing out condoms and loops, and you kind of have this 2 hour spot when you can fuck, and no one wants to fuck anywhere else because it's Burning Man and Sandy, so it's like basically a practical institution for fucking. And then if you would go to some of the former play spaces that's been at Borderland, it's just been mayhem. I remember the first time.
I'm glad you're comfortable talking about it. Please do. To the extent that you would wish, yes. Yes, I remember the Edge.
Yeah, but actually I would say the juice bar was more fun. And I think that also, I'm just going to mention it, like in Boesdal, can we actually say this? I'm just going to say it. Can we? Cut it out if not. But we had some...
Better to have it than not.
Some people informed the first official currency of the Borderland, which was don't think it was called pixie dollars at first, which then evolved into consents. And these pixie dollars you could buy sexual favors with. And this is also, it was connected to the very rumored and scandalous slave market that was held, where you could actually buy people. If you want to go look it up and be triggered and provoked, Google it. It's the white social justice warriors mayhem. And but this just kind of, for me, if I would see it from another perspective, it really invited... because a lot of people talk about consent as the 11th principle. I would not agree to that personally, but that's another level. But what the money kind of did, or these little notes, was like this kind of invitation card to talk about what you want. And then the other person could say, yes, I want this, or yes, I do not want this, in a playful way. So it invited... conversations around playfulness, sexiness, kissing, all of that. A little bit like Ryska Posten. I don't think you maybe know that, but in Sweden they have this thing called the Russian Mail, which is a game that you play, and then I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's initially like you have Ryska Posten, Sanning Konka, like Truth or Dare. We already have all of these things in society at large. And this is just a bit more refined and crazy way of playing with the same dynamics. Like, do you want to kiss this person? Like, I dare you to kiss this person. Like, I dare you to kiss me, and I will give you these, this for that. And it really plays with a lot of taboos and gave it a safe way to experience with that. And I there's been so many years where this has been, you know, happening, and I think it's kind of, you know, done with now, but people still do it. The foxhole is unfortunately I think they're just trying to keep something up, like
I have 50,000 fuck bucks in my fanny pack as we speak. Inflation is a bitch.
Yeah, I remember.
From cunt cents to fuck bucks to 50 million per note. Fuck bucks.
Yeah, I think we're kind of past that now, but it was very important at that time for it to come in and to help set the culture, where it's a culture where we can speak about what we want and set safe formats. And I know that one of the play spaces that was at the Borderland this year, I didn't go there myself, but everything I heard about it was that it was super clean in a like energetic way. Like it was just such a safe space with such like detail, such perfection in the detail, and such a loving open space where you can actually go and experience that. And I mean, so many people go to a swingers club, you know, and they do it like secretly, and would be the burner equivalent of that. And like you go to a space and you can explore sexually with someone, and then you can see other people doing that as well. And it's like, I can't imagine a more safe setting to do that than at one of these like curated spaces at the Borderland with people who are working with this in the tantric fields and, you know, are super passionate, super engaged, or Sacred Kink, for instance, that are also doing this. And there were, I don't know how many people in total in the camp, like 150, I don't know, but so many people are engaged, you know, and that's also, Sacred Kink is also, you know, you have to be sober. You can't you can't drink, you can't do, they have to be fully sober to be there. And it's like, so it's such an important space for people to dare to explore this, because our sexuality is deeply distorted by porn and distorted by, you know, a lack of education, or like a lack of, I think like there's just so much work to do there, and so much playfulness to bring in there, and so much more safety to bring in, and so much to heal with our body images and the relationship we have to ourselves and each other. And I think that we are not this is Swinglish, ducking, like ducka. We're not afraid of that topic. And
like
that
an ostrich with the head in the sand.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's part of the way we do it, with such like Swedish pragmatism in a way, like such a silver tape, you know, approach to the whole thing. It's very like non-pretentious. That just gives it like such a relaxed vibe. Like everything goes, everything is like welcome, and then it also doesn't create the perversion. And we have had some perverted expressions at the Borderland, and we have that's part of the burner scene and part of society as well. But it's just when taboos or shame, when it's welcomed, you know, something happens. Something happens when the things that we've been sitting with and we've been holding shame around for most of our lives, whether it be our bodies, our sexual orientation, our fantasies, our kinks, or whatever it might be, whatever form it might take, when that can be free to be expressed as it can at Borderland in whatever shape or form, with respect and all of the principles at heart, of course, something happens. That's where the magic is. When you dare to step out of this little dungeon that you have inside of yourself, where you're hiding yourself, and step into the light with others and see that I'm not alone, there's others, and just be free in that. That's the most potent healing medicine that, I've said that 5 times, I think. But yeah, it's such a healing, yes, to allow shame, you know. And I think that's also one of the, I'm just gonna wrap this up with saying that one of the most important things about the burn, also I would say the most epic project of all time, is Shitopia, which essentially was initiated many years ago by Lovisa Karlsson and Gustav Josefsson also, I think. where they started to decorate the toilets and to create all of the toilets and turn them into a little art installation. So every time you went to the toilet, it was like the most magical experience at the whole festival. Like you were like always like, I want to try a different toilet.
I went to one filled with clowns.
Yeah.
On a particular night.
Yeah.
It was quite the experience.
Yeah. And, you know, it has puppet shows, or, you know, like jungle, or, you know, or like a lot of art things going on, or like Mexican toilet. And I remember this double toilet where it was an open door in between, so you could go in and you couldn't see who went in, but then in there it was open in between, so you would sit like, hello. So imagine us taking a shit right now, like, hey, how's it going? And just inviting that experience to play with that as well. Like, it's really also tapping into the taboo and things that we don't talk about. But in Sweden, when everyone's drunk, especially at least women, we go to the toilet together, and men do it all the time. Like, that's pretty much all you do. I realize now, I haven't tapped into that part of reality, but you know, you pee with strangers all the time. It's a revelation. But it's, yeah, and to invite that and put creativity and make it, turn it into something beautiful, it also, something happens. Something happens in that. And I don't know if that's present at another Burning Man. You have the porta potties, and it's just like this, and people shit everywhere. It's like, I don't understand how it works. But yeah, Google it if you're curious. And but yeah, I think that's also part of it. So I would say the liberation, the freedom of expression, the relaxedness around sexuality, the edginess in that, the going so deep into the experience that also the toilet, the shittiest part of the experience, is something that is not hidden or like put to the side. That are some of the key formats. And then also having very influential people at an early stage, coming a lot from the LARP community as well, which really put this infusion of creativity to play with different personas and roles to really experience or find new parts of yourself. That is kind of the cocktail that created the Borderland culture. For my, just when I talk into it right now, and of course there's more things, but there are some of the things that feels worthy of mentioning other than just me.
Fantastic. So let's wrap this up with one last, you know, we've talked so much, and I want to know, I would like you to reintroduce yourself.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Right? So Amanda Mungsgaard, hello.
Hello? Are you going to put this first now?
No. Who are you?
I am a sorceress. I am a direct experience of life. I'm a visionary. I'm a mother, even though I don't have kids. I'm a mother, or my own biological kids. I am here to bring in, or to just give love to the world. To give love, to be in love. I'm here to be. Yeah, I'm in love. I'm in love.
Me too now.
Yeah. Yes, you see, it's hard to answer that question because it's something new that comes out every time, and I've been trying to extract that question, and I never got the same answer twice in over 10 years now, which is very problematic for me when I try to create a business. But I'm just learning to flow with that as well, and yeah. So at the heart of what I am, who I am, is someone who is trying to bring in love to this world, and beauty, and magic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Burner Profiles, an interview podcast about the Nordic Burning Man community. We really hope you liked the episode. Like and subscribe if you do.